everyone, and welcome to What Do You Do with a BA in Theater, presented by Dallas Summer Musical's Education and Community Partnerships Department. My name is Seth Johnson, and I'll be your host for this series. We have a very special guest today. Please welcome Caitlin. Caitlin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Caitlin Duree. I am an actress here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, currently quarantined, but yeah, that's what I do. That's when I introduce myself to people, I usually tell them that I'm an actress, and that's it.
And when you are not acting, what is your muggle job?
So as a muggle, when I'm pretending that I'm not an actress, I work for McKesson Pharmaceuticals as an inside account manager for independent, small to medium chain independent pharmacies.
Wow. I don't know
Yes.
what that means at all.
No, so basically, I work with small chain pharmacies, so not CVS's or Walgreens. These are like mom and pop owned pharmacies, and I basically help them with their business. So that's about as muggle as you can get compared to doing theater. Like, it's so complete opposite of one another.
Okay. So what brought you to both of these careers? What made you become an actor, and what brought you into pharmaceuticals?
So I would say that probably most people who do theater in whatever capacity, whether that's management, directing, scenic designing, costumes, acting, I think all of us have probably had a love of theater for a very long time, and it probably happened when you were a child, which is much like me. As my parents like to make fun of me about, maybe not make fun, that's not the way to put it, as they like to tell people to try to embarrass me, I was like talking to myself in mirrors from a very young age and like singing with a hairbrush. So they just kind of assumed that that was going to be what I was going to do, would be theater or singing. So yeah, I grew up in a small town called Nacogdoches, Texas, where I was born and raised. Got involved in the local community theater called the Lamplight Theater. So I did stuff there when I was little. Kind of fell out of choir theater, and was in band for a majority of my like teenage years. I played the trombone. And then my parents, who were educators, they decided that they wanted to move to Arlington, Texas when I was 13. So when we moved to Arlington, that's kind of when I decided I didn't want to do band anymore, and I wanted to get back into choir and theater. And then it just kind of picked up from there. Once I graduated from high school, I went to Tarleton State University. So I have a theater generalist degree. So basically that just means that our program, we had to learn everything. You couldn't specialize in one specific area. So I predominantly did acting, costuming, and scenic painting is really what I did. I did some prop stuff in there. And then basically once I graduated from college, I was needing to get a job. I worked retail for a very, very long time. I was a private shopper, which was fun in its own way. And then kind of didn't want to work retail anymore because it kind of became difficult with doing theater, because as you can imagine, working retail, they want you to be there at night. And I was like, but I would rather be doing theater at night and not having to do this. So I started working office jobs, and I just recently started working with McKesson. That started in June of 2019. So that's actually fairly new for me. So that's just kind of the balance, is knowing that I want to do theater, but I also still have to make like a livable wage, right? So it's kind of just both sides of the world.
Yeah. How do you go about finding that career that you can tolerate while you're still pursuing acting and getting that done?
Well, I think I always feel like when talking with other theater people, and talking about like what we do as day jobs, it's like all over the place. I feel like none of us all do the same thing. So I think it really just depends on like what your comfort level is. I mean, we know so many people that would prefer being waiters and waitresses. They prefer doing those kind of jobs, because that does give them the freedom to do more theater things. I think just in general, I think there's a little bit more freedom with service industry work than there could be with like a typical 9-to-5 job. For me personally, I never did the waiting thing. And other retail services is a more like, you have to work so many night shifts compared to day shifts. And I just kind of didn't want to do that anymore. So an office setting works better for me because I like the idea of I work from 9 to 5, and then after 5 o'clock, I can do whatever I want. Plus I have my weekends off. So an office setting was always more my vibe than service industry. But I think everybody's kind of different. And I think it's what's ever still going to speak to you in the moment. I always tell my friends, I'm just like, you got to do whatever makes you happy. Mm-hmm. And that includes whatever your day job is going to be. So if you don't like doing something, don't do it and move on to something else. So 9 to 5 works for me. It doesn't work for everybody else. I think I think it's just what moves you in the moment.
Well, there's also definitely a big trade-off between the two also. Like you have to either choose between the flexibility of a service job or the stability of a 9 to 5 with potential.
Yeah. And everybody is different. I mean, it's really interesting to have those conversations to see what's more important for people. It's either the flexibility or it's the monetary amount that's more important. For me, it's the monetary amount. I've got 4 cats. I have a full household to feed. So for me, I'm like, I'd rather have more money in my bank account so I can feed my animals than the scheduling conflict stuff, which again, I did that for 6 years. I mean, after I graduated from college, I worked service industry for a long time, and it just got to the point where I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I buckled down and I got a big girl job, if that's really what you want to call it. Work is work, right? Mm-hmm. I've always considered work to be work, and then like theater is my passion in my life. So I do differentiate the two. And I never call like theater a hobby, because sometimes people will try to say that. They're like, oh, well, that's like your hobby. I'm like, it's not a hobby. That is my passion in life. And that is a job, because it is a job. It's a full-time job in and of itself. So that I'm always like, nope, I have my day job and I have my nighttime job. Which sounds a little risque, right? The way I just phrased that, my nighttime job, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And that's a difficult skill to develop, that separation between the two, being able to do that. How long did it take for you to get into that rhythm and really separate that in your brain?
So I will say that like the first year post-graduation and trying to like acclimate to the real world outside of education, I think is interesting for everyone, because I think it's in general finding that balance of, oh, I'm no longer a student. I'm no longer in an educational setting full time. I'm now like an independent person who's like figuring out what it's like to be in the real world. So I will say that like I got cast in my very first production pretty quickly after I graduated from college, which was awesome. But then after I did that show, I don't think I did anything for about a year, because I ended up getting so caught in the, I have to be at work. I have to be used to this kind of schedule. Maybe theater is really not my thing. And then it actually was a conversation with my mom, where my mom sat down with me one night and she was like, what are you doing? She was like, that's not your life. Like working retail and being a clothing consultant and personal shopper, it's great and you have fun doing it, but that's like not who you really are. That's not your passion. No. And once I had that conversation with her, I was like, oh my God, you're right. And I immediately like started auditioning again. So I will say like that first year was actually pretty difficult for me to find that balance. And then once having that conversation and then starting the audition circuit again, and then starting to get cast, I really started putting my energy back into, this is what I want to do with my life. This is who I really am. So.
Yeah. So how do you feel your acting career helps your day job, and vice versa? What skills you transfer to each one of them?
So definitely being an actress makes me extremely confident in any kind of like work environment, just because like at this point, I'm not really afraid to talk to people. So actually very recently in my job, so we are divided up like in territories. Our customers are different territories. And I actually got like a whole new section of customers simply because they were like, Caitlin likes to talk to people. These people need somebody to talk to them. Just give them to Caitlin. And that's basically it. I mean, truly, like theater has made my communication skills supersede, I think, most people, because I mean, you go in and you do a cold reading and you have to just, oh, that didn't go as well as I thought it was. That's fine. Gonna move on to the next. And I think it's the same in a work environment. It's like, oh, okay, the way I said that didn't work. So now I got to find a new way to phrase it. And I think I just have learned communication on a whole new level because of theater. And kind of vice versa, I think in a work environment, and especially having like a structured 9-to-5 job, I think it just makes me take theater more seriously now than it did probably when I first got out of college. Because I think there was still this kind of like lackadaisical, like, I'll learn those lines later. I don't need to go to that tech build day. It's not that big a deal. And now it's like, no, you need to get off book, because it's not just about you. It's about the rest of your cast, and they deserve to have you off book. If somebody's asking you for help in a theater setting, whether that's a tech build day or a costumer that's just like, hey, I need somebody to help me sew buttons randomly on a Tuesday before rehearsal, you just gotta do it. We're a collaborative, it's a collaborative family. And I definitely learned over the years that even if you consider yourself just to be an actor, you're never really just an actor. You're part of a team. Go be part of that team in whatever aspect that is. So whether that's meeting up early to go over lines with somebody for a scene, or helping a costumer, or going to a set build day, whatever it is, just lend a hand. I mean, it's your production too. So don't you want it to be the best production that it can be? Well, then go help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching, I'll tell you something that I didn't learn until almost after college, was talking with other actors and company members who are doing this professionally. The biggest thing you need to know is you need to come in off book. A lot of times, like, people gloss over that, especially in college. Like, I know I did not come to shows off.
Oh yeah.
Like, we had that time and off book day kind of thing. But when you're working professionally, you get to the point where it's like, once blocking is over, which is usually after the first week, you're expected to run those scenes without a book in your hand.
Yeah, get off book as quickly as possible. Yeah. And I will always say that, like, that's always been an interesting thing, is because, like, I'm good at memorizing lines, but the way my brain works is that I usually have to have blocking, because it's all one fluid motion. It's like, okay, as I'm saying this line, this is when I'm supposed to be crossing over here, or this is when I'm supposed to be grabbing that. So like, blocking has always been super important with line learning, but you're definitely right. Because I think there is still that mentality of, well, it says on my schedule that I don't have to be off book till this day, but it's like, you should be gearing up to be off book well before then, or as close to it as possible. But I think that's the fear factor, because I also think as actors, we get like embarrassed if we don't know lines, and we don't want to be that person that's like halting the rehearsal by line. So I understand it in that sense, because that's very much me. I'm like, I don't want to slow everybody down in rehearsal because I'm trying to be off book and I'm not really. But again, it's collaborative effort. Nobody should be judging you while that's happening. It's like, everybody should be supporting one another. So it's just like, girl, you want to be off book? Get it. Get those lines. I'm going to be behind you 100%. But yeah, you're definitely right. Getting off book as early as possible is probably one of the most important things you can do as an actor, because it's not just helpful for yourself, it's helpful for the cast, and it's helpful for your director.
Everyone's going to have those moments when you're in a rehearsal and it's just not your day and you have to like,
Oh yeah.
And that is absolutely fine.
Oh yeah.
It's going to feel very, very crappy in the midst of it, but it's all of our journeys. We've all done it one or two or multiple times.
And I think that's part of like growth. I think that's growth as a theater professional in whatever capacity it is. It's like whatever you were doing 10, 5, even a year ago, it's not going to be the same way that you're doing it today. And I think no matter how far along in your career you may be, I think you always need to strive to continue growing, like not just in years, but as a professional. It's what can I continue to do to strengthen myself as an actor? And that's one thing that I think I've learned. I think the older I get, the quicker I get off book. And I'm still not super, super fast, but it's definitely faster than what I did probably even a year ago. Yeah.
So before we wrap up the interview, I've been asking everybody this. And if you could picture yourself in high school, what advice would you give your younger self?
Probably the biggest thing I could give high school Caitlin is don't give up on yourself, and also don't always believe what some people tell you you're capable of. I think all of us at some point will meet someone who's typically further along in their career, who's going to try to tell you that you're not capable and you can't do this, but you can do that. Never let somebody tell you that, or if they do, don't let it get in your head, because that happened to me. I had a theater teacher in high school who basically told me that me doing theater in my life would not be worth it. I just was not gonna have the capabilities to be an actress. And if I had listened to them, I would not be doing what I was doing now. So it's always trust your instincts and believe in yourself, and don't let other people convince you that you can't do it. You have to go on your own journey, and nobody else can tell you that. So I would definitely tell Caitlin I'm not even going to tell you the year, but a long time ago, high school Caitlin, I would definitely tell her, believe in yourself and do not always believe someone who's older than you. Don't always believe what they tell you is going to be how it really is.
Yeah. Only you really know what you're capable of. And path is different.
And theater, I think we all forget that like theater is just this organic creature, and it's always changing. So what may be hip and trendy one year is not going to be what's hip and trendy the next. So that's why you can't give up on yourself, because although you may audition a million times one year and you just really don't get much back, the following year it could be your year and you could get cast in every single thing you audition for, because the shows are different, the theaters have new people involved. It's ever growing, it's organic. So you just can't trust that it's always going to be one way. And that's another huge thing that I've learned after many years is, you just got to keep going for it, because it's never the same. Every year is going to be completely different when it comes to theater.
Well, Caitlin, that's some stellar advice. I'm really glad you could share that with everyone. At this point in our video, it's our favorite part. We are going to introduce our special musical guest right here.
I don't like to fight with Mother, but I find that in this place I can't even feel my fingers or my toes or my face. And soon I will be sitting in that awful I hate it here. I hate the way he pokes my gums. I hate it here. I hate the way he makes me numb. I cannot stand it any longer. And even though I'm only 9, I know that it just makes me stronger. I know that I will be just fine. But now I'm feeling kind of queasy, knowing that I seal my fate. I can't take it, I'm uneasy. Jesus Christ, I hate it here. I can hear the deadly squalor as the bad man points the drill at my teeth, incisors, molars. It won't be too long until I will be at home recovering from my long and awful day. I'll refuse to speak to Mom, at least until I want to play. But still, I hate it here. I hate the way the Batman smells. I hate it here. I hate the way the Batman tells me to floss between all of my teeth. See, brush them at least twice a day. Are you kidding? That's beneath me. I won't do anything you say. I would rather slew through beatings than have you guess at what I ate. I can't take your voodoo meetings. Oh my God, I hate it here. I can't stand it. I can't stand. What is that? Is that for me? Are you saying that I'm getting this for free? Is that a sticker? Are there a few? Oh my God, my faith has been restored in you. In you. I love it here. I love to read the magazines. I love it here. Sweet Christ, a free toothbrush? Who knew that I'd get this stuff? Hey, that makes up for all the probates. Even though it has been tough, I made it through alright. So sing out into the streets and highways, out into the skies above. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I love it here.
And that was awesome! Woo!
Woo!
Yeah, rock. My sound's completely off. Caitlin, thank you so much for sharing your time.
You're welcome.
Viewers out there, remember that Dallas Summer Musicals is a resource for you. We are here to help. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. We will definitely help you out there. If you have any ideas for future master classes or video content that you would like to see, let us know, because we want to be here for you during these difficult times. Stay safe, wash your hands, and you all have a great day. Bye.